It is telling me to stop recording. So I think the recording is already there.
Okay, Mataji, fine. Then it's okay.
It is
Because,
giving me only two options: pause recording and
okay,
stop
then
recording.
it's okay. Then it's okay. Fine. So, welcome you all for this session on Bhagavad Gita. We have been doing introduction session for the last 6 months, and now in this auspicious month of Kartik, we are starting our Bhagavad Gita classes. So, over a period of time, we have been influenced with our family, friends, society, media, and everything who gives us a picture of success, some perfect picture of success. But what happens over a period of time? Are we really able to feel that success in our life? Do you think that we are happy in our lives or something gets missing?
There is some missing. It is not continuous.
Yeah, so like whenever we are in, suppose we are in grade 8th or 9th, we have been said that now you just complete grade 10, everything will be fine. And then you enter the grade 11, and then you say you just complete your 12th grade and you get into the good college, then life will be settled. And then you're in the college, and then you just say that you pass out of the college and get some placement and you'll be happy. And then you're said that okay, now you get married, you get a house and you will be happy. And then next we are said that oh no, you get a child, you get some more stuffs for your home, maybe a car or better home or whatever it is, and then you get happy. But our search for happiness or our hankering for happiness is going on and on. We are not able to really find that kind of happiness. So we begin to doubt if that perfect life is achievable, that makes us happy. And we start searching, could there be any deeper purpose of life? I think most of us who are here to learn Bhagavad Gita are in search of the purpose of the life, right? For example, if there is a fan, is there a purpose for the fan? What is the purpose of the fan?
To help us give the air.
Yeah, to give the wind. So, for example, the table has an utility, the stove has an utility, the AC has an utility. So if you think every object that we use, it has a purpose. But have you ever thought, what is the purpose of my life? How many of us think what is the purpose of our life? So if we think the purpose of our life is to settle down in a good house and in a good, having a good car and having a good family, then why is it not permanent? So anything that is not permanent, how can that be considered to be happy? Happiness is something that should be there all the time. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. So in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about 20 objects of knowledge, of which one of them, what Krishna says is about the birth, death, old age, and disease. These four things gives us the pangs of life. Is it very nice to become old? Is it very nice to get deceased? Is it very nice to die? No. So most of us probably don't understand how birth can be miserable. But for that, if you're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam gives a graphical, vivid picture of the condition of the child in the womb, how the child is trapped in the womb of the mother and it's subjected to the bites of the insect, and the child is in between the stool, urine, and the child is really undergoing a lot of sufferings. So in such a small space of bag, the child cannot do anything properly. So the suffering of the child in the womb starts in a very early stage, and then the child is praying to Krishna, you please get me out of the sufferings, and I will become your devotee and I will uh, make my life perfect. But then when the child comes out, the child is being pampered so much. All the relatives says, such a cute child and all the things. And, we are again getting into the Maya. However, there is a very precarious position undergone by us while we are in the womb of the mother. So all the four things, birth, death, old age, and disease, are not going to be very easy for us. So the goal of the life for us is to find out that permanent happiness by which we do not take birth again. And there are so many Mahatmaya, like Gita Mahatmaya. One is from Padma Puran, where Shivji is telling to Parvati ji, and that is more on, like, for example, if you're reading the chapters of Bhagavad Gita every day, like first chapter of Bhagavad Gita every day, you get some material benefits and you get some liberation like that. And there is also another Gita Mahatmaya, which is given by Shankaracharya, and it is there in our Bhagavad Gita book. You can all look at the page number 29. I think you all have a Bhagavad Gita book, isn't it? So the first Gita Mahatmaya says, Gita dhyatyana shilasya pranayama parasya cha naiva shantihi papani purva janma kritani cha. If one reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness, then by the grace of the Lord, the reactions of the past misdeeds will not act on him. The Lord says very loudly in the last portion of Bhagavad Gita, that's what he says, Sarvadharman parityacha mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami masuja. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender to me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Thus the Lord takes all responsibility for one who surrenders to him, and he indemnifies such a person against all reactions of sin. And Mala Nirmochanam Pumsam Jalasnanam Dine Dine Sukrit Gitamrita Snanam Samsara Mala Nashanam. One may cleanse himself daily by taking a bath in water. But if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges water of Bhagavad Gita, for him the dirt of the material life is altogether vanished. So like we take bath every day, we should also read Gita. By reading Bhagavad Gita every day, our material contamination also gets cleansed. Gita su Gita kartavya kim anyay shastra vistare yaswashyam padmanabhasya mukta padmat vinishrita. Because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one need not read any other Vedic literature. One need only attentively and regularly hear and read Bhagavad Gita. In the present age, people are so absorbed in mundane activities that it is not possible for them to read all the Vedic literatures. But this is not necessary. This one book, Bhagavad Gita, will suffice because it is the essence of all the Vedic literature, and especially because it is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this literature, Bhagavad Gita, is spoken by the Lord himself. So by reading Bhagavad Gita, we are understanding the essence of all the Vedic scriptures. So there is no need for us to read any other scriptures other than Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, which is all about Krishna himself. It is also said, Bharatamrita Sarvasyam Vishnu Vakrat Vinikritam Gita Ganodhakam Pitvam Punar Janmana Vidyate. One who drinks the water of the Ganges attains salvation. So what to speak of one who drinks the nectar of Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is the essential nectar of Mahabharata, and it is spoken by Lord Krishna himself, the original Vishnu. Bhagavad Gita comes from the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Ganges is said to emanate from the lotus feet of the Lord. Of course, there is no difference between the mouth and the feet of the Supreme Lord, but from the impartial study, we can appreciate the Bhagavad Gita even more important than the water of Ganges, right? We cannot get access of water of Ganges every day, but we have access to Bhagavad Gita every day. So just by reading Bhagavad Gita, the purification process starts. Sarvopanishito Ghavo Dogda Gopala Nandana Partho Vatsatu Dirbhokta Duktam Gitamritam Mahat. This Gita Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, the essence of all Upanishad, is just like a cow. And Lord Krishna, who is famous as the cowherd boy, is milking this cow. Arjuna is just like a calf, and learned scholars or pure devotees ought to drink the nectarian milk of Bhagavad Gita. एकम शास्त्रम देवकी पुत्र गीतम एको देव देवकी पुत्र एव एको मंत्र सत्य नामामि यानि कर्माम ekam tasya devasya seva. In the present day, people are very much eager to have one scripture, one God, one religion, and one occupation. Therefore, Eko Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam. Let there be one scripture only, one common scriptures for the whole world, Bhagavad Gita. Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva. Let there be one God for the whole world, Sri Krishna. Eko mantra satya namani, one hymn, one mantra, one prayer, the chanting of his name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Karmat ekam tasya devasya seva, and let there be one work only, the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we are all very, very fortunate to have access of Bhagavad Gita. Most of us have been having Bhagavad Gita at our place right from the childhood, but hardly we think that Bhagavad Gita is to keep in the puja and to just do the prayers, because he is Lord Krishna himself. That is true, he is Lord Krishna himself. That is a Vani by Lord Krishna. However, he wants to give some instruction to us. So that is why he is speaking Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. And why did he choose Arjuna? In the 3rd chapter, Krishna says, because Arjuna, Bhaktosi me sakacheti. Arjuna is his friend as well as a devotee. So for us to learn Bhagavad Gita, the qualification to understand Bhagavad Gita is also given by Krishna. By becoming a devotee of Krishna, we can understand Bhagavad Gita. In the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Bhaktosi, only by devotion one can understand him. Not by any other process one can understand him. And even in Brahma Samhita, Brahmaji prays to Krishna. Vedeshu dhurlabama atma bhakto. By Vedas also, it is very, very difficult to understand Krishna. But my Atma Bhakta, my devotee, can understand me very easily. So that is the reason why we did the 6 months course on Introduction of Bhagavad Gita, where we learned many aspects of Gita. We understood who is God, we understood who is Jiva, we try to understand what is karma, what is kala, and what is prakriti. And we also understood the importance of chanting the holy names of Lord. Because by chanting the holy names of Lord, by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, what is the primary benefit that we get? One can develop the love for Godhead. There are so many secondary benefits of chanting the Mahamantra, but the primary benefit is to develop the love for Godhead, because Golokera Prematana, Harinama Sankirtana. So this sound of Lord is coming directly from Goloka with Premadana, giving us the love for Krishna. So for all of us who are the students of Bhagavad Gita, while reading Bhagavad Gita, because we are trying to understand Bhagavad Gita, doing the process of chanting can help us in the better absorption of the Gita studies than just to understand Gita. So I hope all of you are chanting the Mahamantra at least one round or so, or some of you are chanting more rounds. But to begin with, I request all of you to start chanting at least one round, so that this knowledge penetrates in our hearts and it helps us to live accordingly. So Gita is just not a book, but it is the way of life. Like anything that we are buying in the market, for example, you're buying a TV. Don't you get a manual? You're buying a washing machine, you get a manual. So we have obtained the human form of life after undergoing 80 lakh species of life, after the 84 lakh species of life. Even among the human beings, there are 400,000 species of life. There are uncultured species and the civilized and uncivilized. And we being born in India, Bharata Bhumile Janma Sarthakoi. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said that because one obtained the perfection of the life by taking birth in Bharata Bhumi. It is not just by chance that we have taken birth in Bharata Bhumi, but one must have done a lot of pious activity to be born in India. This is a land where Krishna was born. This is a land where Rama performed his pastime. So this is a Punya Bhumi. So many sages, so many saints, so many people living in this world and have lived in this country. So Paropakara. Now what we should do is, we should also give this knowledge of Gita to others. We have to first become Krishna conscious and give this knowledge to the rest of the world, which our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada has given this knowledge to everybody in this world. That's why Namrata Mataji, recently 2 days back, she is in Australia, in Sydney, and she could get an opportunity to visit the ISKCON temple, participate in the Aarti and take the Prasadam and do. How nice it is, whichever part of the world we are, today we can find a Krishna temple and we can get the association of the devotees as well. So how can this happen? This can only happen if we are also trying to give Krishna consciousness to the rest of the world. And even within India, we know our culture is slowly degrading. Today, people don't even do the normal process that we do, like doing diya batti and flowers. These were all ingrained in us, just like we take bath, just like we clean ourselves. Offering a diya batti and flower was a part of our life. But today we know how many of us are doing that. We just light up the lamp on Diwali. I know some families, once a year they clean up the puja and they offer the lamp and everything only once a year. Rest of the year, they do not do anything. So let us not be like that. Let us bring back our own spiritual culture and by taking the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. So let us go to the first sloka of Bhagavad Gita. Please repeat after me. This is in page number 33. Mataji, I request you all, please mute yourself because this is there's a recording happening.
Eyes open, yaar.
Okay. There's a recording happening. Please, I request you all to mute yourself. Okay. So please repeat after me. Take page number 33 from the book Bhagavad Gita. Dhritarashtra uvacha.
Dhritarashtra uvacha.
Dharmakshetre kurukshetre.
Dharmakshetre Gurukshetre
Samaveta
Samaveda
Mamaka Pandavashaiva
Mamaka Pandavascheva
Kima Kurvata Sanjaya
Kima Kurvata Sanjayah
Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre
Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre
Samaveta Yuyutsavaha
Samaveta Yuyutsavah
Mamaka Pandavashaiva
Mamaka Pandavascheva
Kima Kurvata Sanjaya
Kima Kurvata Sanjaya
Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre
Dharmakshetre Gurukshetre
Samaveta Yuyutsavaha
Samaveda Yuyutsavah
Mamaka Pandavashaiva
Mamaka Pandavascheva
Kima Kurvata Sanjaya.
Kima Kurvata Sanjayah.
Would anybody like to recite?
The same sloka?
Yes, yes. We will repeat after you.
Dhritarashtra uvacha
Dhritarashtra uvacha
Dharmakshetre kurukshetre
Dharmakshetre kurukshetre
समवेतायुयुत्सवः
समवेतायुयुत्सवः
मामका पाण्डवाश्चैव
मामका पाण्डवाश्चैव
किम् अकुर्वत सञ्जय
किम् अकुर्वत Sanjay. One more devotee wants to recite.
Ma'am, I can do.
Yes, Mataji.
Dhritarashtra uvacha
Dhritarashtra uvacha
dharmakshetra kurukshetre
Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre
samaveda
Samaveta Yuyutsavaha
mamaka pandavaschaiva
Mamaka Pandavashaiva
kimakurvata sanjaya.
Kimakurvata Sanjaya. So anybody wants to do the word to word meaning?
I can do, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, please.
Dhritarashtra uvacha. King Dhritarashtra said, Dharma Kshetra, in the place of pilgrimage, Kurukshetra, in the place called Kurukshetra, Samaveda, assembled, Yuyutsava, desiring to fight, Mamaka, my party, that is the sons, Pandavas, the son of the Pandu, Cha means and, Eva, certainly, Kim, what, Akurvata, did they do? Sanjaya, oh Sanjaya. So he's asking Sanjaya, what did my sons in the Kurukshetra, what
Yeah.
did they do?
Yeah. You want to read the translation, Mataji? You can read it.
Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of the Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do?
Okay. Purport, anybody would like to read? It's a big purport. Maybe we will have 2-3 people who can read the purport.
So I will start off,
Yes,
then we
Mataji.
can
Yeah.
ask. Purport, Bhagavad Gita is the widely read theist science summarized in the Gita Mahatyam, glorifying of the Gita. There it says that one should read Bhagavad Gita very scrutinizingly with the help of the person who is a devotee of Sri Krishna and try to understand it without personally motivated interpretations. The example of the clear understanding is there in the Bhagavad Gita itself, in the way the teaching is understood by Arjuna, who heard the Gita directly from the Lord. If someone is fortunate enough to understand Bhagavad Gita in that line of disciplinic succession without motivated interpretation, then we surpasses all studies of Vedic wisdom and all scriptures of the world. One will find in the Bhagavad Gita all that is contained in other scriptures, but the reader will also find things which are not in the other scriptures. It's not found elsewhere. That is the specific standard of the Gita. It is the perfect thesis science because it is directly spoken by Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna.
Yeah. Anybody would like to continue? Lekha Mataji, would you like to do?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
The topics discussed by Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya, as described in the Mahabharata, form the basic principle for this great philosophy. It is understood that this philosophy evolved on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which is a sacred place of pilgrimage from the immemorial time of the Vedic age. It was spoken by the Lord when he was present personally on this planet for the guidance of mankind. The word Dharmakshetra, a place where religious rituals are performed, is significant because on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present on the side of Arjuna. Dhritarashtra, the father of Kurus, was highly doubtful about the possibility of the son's ultimate victory. In his doubt, he inquired from his secretary Sanjaya, what did they do? He was confident that both his sons and the sons of the younger brother Pandu were assembled in that field of Kurukshetra for a determined engagement of the war. Still, his inquiry is significant. He did not want a compromise between the cousins and brothers, and he wanted to be sure of the fate of his sons on the battlefield. Because the battle was arranged to be fought at Kurukshetra, which is mentioned elsewhere in the Vedas as a place of worship, even for the denizens of heroes of heaven, Dhritarashtra became very fearful about the influence of the holy place on the outcome of the battle. He knew very well that this would influence Arjuna and the sons of Pandu favorably because by nature they were all virtuous. Sanjaya was a student of Vyasa, and therefore, by the mercy of Vyasa, Sanjaya was able to envision the battlefield of Kurukshetra even while he was in the room of Dhritarashtra. And so Dhritarashtra asked him about the situation on the battlefield.
If anybody would like to continue?
Okay, I will start off much.
Yes.
Both the Pandavas and the sons of Dhritarashtra belong to the same family, but Dhritarashtra's mind is disclosed herein. He deliberately claimed only his sons as Kurus, and he separated the sons of Pandu from the family heritage. One can thus understand the specific position of Dhritarashtra in his relationship with his nephews, the sons of Pandu. As in the paddy field, the unnecessary plans are taken out, so it is expected from the very beginning of these topics that in the religious field of Kurukshetra, where the father of the religions, Sri Krishna, was present, the unwanted plans like Dhritarashtra's sons Duryodhana and others would be wiped out, and the thoroughly religious persons headed by Yudhishthira would be established by the Lord. This is the significance of the work Dharma Kshetra and Kurukshetra apart from their historical and Vedic importance. Sanjaya Uvacha.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. So before we go a little deeper on this purport, I would just like to give the divisions of this chapter. So every chapter, the particular slokas conveys a particular message in detail. So the first message is setting the scene. Sloka 1 to 2, setting the scene. You can all note down. I will also put in the message. 1 and 2 talks about setting up the scene. And then Duryodhana's diplomacy. Sloka 3 to 13 speaks about Duryodhana's diplomacy. And Sloka 14 to 20 talk about Krishna as a Parthasarathi. Victory is certain. From Sloka 16 to 20.
Fourteen to 20 is Krishna as Parthasarathi, no, Mataji?
Yeah.
Okay, then what is that victory is certain?
So 1 second. I don't know. Is it not coming to everyone? 1 second.
Not able to see
Yeah,
the screen,
yeah.
Mataji, but
Is it happening now? Can you see this in the message I put?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm putting in a message, yeah.
Okay.
And then Sloka 21 to 26 is Achyuta. The infallible Krishna.
Mataji, I think I'm missing something.
Yeah.
Slokam 14 to 20, you said Sri Krishna as Parthasarathi, but 16
Yeah.
to 20 is
Yeah.
victory.
Yeah.
Acha, acha.
Both are
Okay.
same. Yeah. Both
Okay,
are
understood.
same.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Achyuta, the infallible Krishna, is 21 to 26. And then the last portion talks about Arjuna's reasons not to fight. From 27 to 46. So this is how this chapter is divided. So this will help us in properly understanding the Gita when we understand the divisions of the chapter, what message is conveyed in the chapter. So as we all know that there are so many versions of Bhagavad Gita, people give their own commentary, and Bhagavad Gita is also given in such a way like how do you lead a life, how do you do the work and everything. But here in this purport, Prabhupada has clearly conveyed from whom we have to receive the message of Bhagavad Gita is from the parampara. We have gone through in the previous classes how important for us is to receive the message through the parampara. So we have to receive this message of Bhagavad Gita through the parampara and not from whatever source that is available. Okay, so it so happened like when I was distributing books in the train, in one of the train we were going to Pune. So there was one person, he said that he has Bhagavad Gita book and he's reading something. So I just asked him, can you please show me what book he has? So he has a Bhagavad Gita book written in a very, very some materialistic way. Then I explained him, you know, this is not the way to understand Bhagavad Gita. And I gave our Bhagavad Gita as it is that we have. And he said he already has. So, and then I gave him other book like our Vedic philosophy for students, and then he accepted it. So that's why it's very important for us to understand Gita through the parampara and not just hearing from wherever it is possible. So it so happened that one of the person, he got PhD through Bhagavad Gita. Through Bhagavad Gita studies, he obtained a PhD and he was throwing a party for celebration. And for the dinner, and this person was offering them chicken. So what is his understanding of Bhagavad Gita? So one who has done a PhD, a doctorate in Bhagavad Gita, how can he offer chicken? Krishna has clearly said in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, Yome Bhaktya Prayachati. If he is eating anything other than these four stuffs, then he would have told us, offer me anything you want, but he was very specific on what he wants. So this is how it is like. So it is very important on how we understand Gita and through whom we understand the Gita. So that's what Krishna says, Bhaktyamam Abhijanati. Only my devotees can understand me. And this Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Lord himself about the God. So it's very, very auspicious because Krishna is directly speaking to us. Many people says that Bhagwan kidhar hai? What do we know what Krishna, what does Bhagwan want? But Krishna is talking to us through Bhagavad Gita. So if you want to speak to the God, then read Bhagavad Gita, then Krishna is speaking with us. And it also deals with the purpose of the life. By reading Gita, one can understand the purpose of the life. So we are sending our children to school. So is this message is being given to the children? Are the children being taught what is the purpose of the life? Does the schools and colleges teach us the purpose of the life? No. They just say that, okay, you just go out and you lead the life will teach you. So how can it be like that? It's again like a dog and a cat. The dog and the cat has no control on itself. The dog just goes in the street and whatever gets in, the dog and the cat gets in. And whereas we in the human form of life are also told just study, only thing is we have more resources materially. Maybe we are educated that can give us some skills to take a job and to take a house and probably to have a family and a car. But whatever we do is same like that of an animal. Ahara nidra bhayamaitunacha, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, samanya metam pashubinaranam. It is the same for humans and animals. Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho. It is the dharma that differentiates us from being the animals. Dharmena hina pashubinaranam. Without dharma, we are the two-legged animals. So where do we understand this dharma? Dharmo hi sakshat bhagavat pranita. Dharma is given by the Lord himself. So that is why this first sloka, dharma kshetre kurukshetre, immediately the Bhagavad Gita starts with the word dharma. So dharma is given by the Lord himself. So it is very sad we are being in India and our curriculum cannot include Bhagavad Gita in our studies, the school or college. It's really a very sad situation why it is not happening. But even if the children are given even 5 slokas in their curriculum in a year, then we can prevent all the depression and all the suicidals and everything can be combated by giving the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Today, we know that children are not happy. They are growing up, but they are not happy because they are not given the real values through our scriptures. And we know life is full of difficulties, isn't it? If somebody says, how are you? If you say, I am good, probably in the last 30 minutes or 1 hour, nothing happened to us. Otherwise, within a day of 24 hours, we all undergo a lot of difficulties in our life. So Gita helps us to transcend the difficulties. How can we get out of this material world? So, and why do we hear from God? We should say we are hearing from so many people, like during the COVID time when Modi was giving a speech, when it was announced in the television that at 7 o'clock Modi will come and talk to the citizens. How many of us were just waiting for that moment, trying to understand what Modi is trying to tell us? And we are hearing to what Modi is trying to tell us. And now Trump became a president and we are trying to hear what is Trump has to do with the world. And we are hearing to Putin, what Putin has to do about the thing. So we are hearing to so many materialistic people, but we never think that, we have to hear to the God. And why we have to listen to the God? Because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 7, Vedaham samatitani vartamani charjana bhavishyani tu bhutani mam tu vedana kasyana. Krishna knows the past, present, and the future. He knows completely about us. So when we are taking the shelter of Krishna, he takes care of us. Knowing about us, he will definitely help us. And also in Bhagavad Gita, 5th chapter, Krishna says that Sukhritam Sarva Bhutanam, he is a well-wisher of all the living entities. When we say living entity, is it just the humans? What are the living entities? The living entities are
everything.
from everything. So Krishna is giving food even to the ant. Krishna is giving food even to the elephant in the dark jungle. So everybody is getting their food, isn't it? So isn't Krishna not helping all of us? Even if we are taking the body of a dog, Krishna still accompanies us as Paramatma. Krishna in the form of Paramatma is there in all the living entities. So Krishna in the form of Paramatma is there with everyone as a well-wisher. So, and more than all, we can trust Krishna. How many people in this material world we can trust today? Even our own friends who seems to be very, very nice with us, some conversation so happens and you just split up. You just stop talking with each other. So it so happened that the 2 girls in the college days, they were very, very, very close friends. They were always together. You cannot see them separately. So whatever time they were in the college and even beyond that, they ensured that they were with each other. And after some years, it so happened that both these girls fell in love with the same boy. And because of the enmity that these 2 girls developed in themselves, one of the girls, she killed the other girl. So this is a material world. And whenever you take a newspaper, aren't we seeing all these news happening in our newspapers? What do we see? This wife, the husband killed the wife and the wife ran away. these all the news that we get while reading the newspaper. Anything else we get? No. So, but with Krishna, we can trust him. Krishna says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante. To the extent you surrender to me, to that extent I reciprocate to you. So, so that is why we have to hear to the Krishna. Okay. So now we can see about little bit about this sloka where Sanjay Uvacha and Dharmakshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta Yuyutsavaha. So going little bit on the history of Mahabharat, which everybody knows, but just keeping the long story short. So as we all know that Pandu was the king. Dhritarashtra was the elder brother of Pandu. He was supposed to be the king, but he could not be the king. What is the reason why Dhritarashtra could not be the king?
He was blind.
Blind, exactly. A blind person cannot be a king. So Dhritarashtra could not be the king. So Pandu became the higher of the kingdom. Pandu was pale in complexion, but he was having all the qualities of being a king. He ruled the king according to the dharma. But what happened to Pandu? Did he live long? No. He died in a short span of time. When Pandu left his body, the children of Pandu were very, very young. They were little boys. So they could not become the heirs of the kingdom because they should get some training and they should get appropriate age so that they could take over the kingdom. So Pandus could not take over the kingdom because of their young age. So Dhritarashtra was appointed as a king because king is important for the kingdom. Without king, what can happen to the kingdom? There will be rise in the rogues and thieves. They become very active, isn't it? When there is no king, the rogues, they become very active. People, they start stealing. People started doing lot of wise things, right? So that is the reason why the king is important. So Dhritarashtra was appointed as a king for a short period of time. But after that, when the sons of Pandu grew up, was it not his responsibility to give the kingdom back to them? But did Dhritarashtra do that? He did not do that. He was not only blind by his nature physically, but he was also blind by the spiritual knowledge. He was very, very possessive about his son. That's why you could say Dharmakshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta Yusa, Mamaka Pandavaschaiva. He's separating his sons from Pandu. He's separating the Pandus from the Kuru dynasty because the sons of the brother is also considered to be their own sons. Like if you see that we always say the uncles, like I don't know, in our Tamil language or anything, we say Periyappa, we say big father, we say this thing. So we are supposed to consider them as their own children. But Dhritarashtra did not consider sons of Pandu as his own child, whereas he separated them. He said that Mamaka, my sons, if he says Pandavaschaiva. So he was trying to separate his sons from Pandus, and he wanted his sons to become the higher of the kingdom. So the enmity that developed between the two families, that was the reason why this Kurukshetra war happened. So generally, when we think about spirituality, what do we think? We think about saintly people. We think about the sadhus. We think they are very peaceful. They are very calm. They are in some Himalayas or they are in Vrindavan. They are in some dhams in a very secluded place. But here, this spiritual knowledge is given where? Where is this knowledge given? In Kurukshetra, in the war field, right? So similarly, in our lives, we are having a lot of wars within us. We are very confused about our life. We could not take proper decisions on what is right and what is wrong. So this knowledge of Gita is not just for sadhus and this thing. This is for each and every one of us. And Arjuna, was Arjuna a sadhu? Who was Arjuna? Arjuna was a Kshatriya and he was a family man, right? So this knowledge is given not just for the sadhus or anything. It is for all of us. The very representation of Arjuna, this knowledge being given to Arjuna, shows that this is for all of us. Okay, so there was a lot of attempts taken to stop the war. It so happened even once Krishna himself went as a Tuda to speak to Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana to stop the war, but they were hell-bent upon it, that they did not want to stop fighting. And Pandavas, already they were banished to the forest, they were deprived of all their things. So what they thought is, Pandavas cannot have a big army because they have already lost everything. So now Duryodhana, his father, was already in the power. He had more strength, isn't it? So when the option is given to the people in the kingdom to join whichever party they wanted, but who had a higher strength here? Duryodhana had a higher strength. In fact, Bhishma and Dronacharya, why did they join Duryodhana's party? Don't you think that Bhishma Dev knows that the wiseness of the wise, I'm saying BEC, the wise of Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, why did he join them? What was the need for Bhishma Dev to join the party of Duryodhana?
I think he took the vow of protecting Hastinapur.
That is
So
okay. See, protection will also be given by Pandus also, no? But why did he become? Because he was getting money from them. He was getting financial support from them as a general of the war, and Dronacharya being the teacher. So they were paid. So they were obliged because they are getting the money from them. See, aren't we not obliged? Suppose we are working in a company, we are getting some salary from them. Are we not obliged to serve them? So similarly, Dronacharya and Bhishma Dev, they were obliged to take the side of Duryodhana, although they know that, they are supporting the wrong side. So what did Dhritarashtra thought? Dhritarashtra thought that, he has a very big army. So he thought that, if at all this war happens, he's just waiting for an opportunity. If at all the war happens, he thinks that his sons will totally win the kingdom and they will rule the world. He did not want any compromise, because if there is a compromise, then some portion will go to Pandus, right? So why there is a compromise? It so happened that the Pandus, they only asked for 5 villages. They just said, just give us 5 villages. So each one of us will take 1 village and we will be just happy with that. But Duryodhana said he cannot even give a needle to them. So that was their mentality of me, my, and mine. Even in this material world, we see people with the thought of me, my, and mine, and they are fully in the self-aggrandizement. Unless otherwise you praise them, you do them, they do not do anything. But what is the result of that people who are in the me, my, and mine? Are they happy? What is happening to them? They are suffering from anxiety, they are suffering from frustration, and they are suffering from disappointment. So we will see slowly how all these things comes to them, because when we are in the me, my, and mine attitude is shown by the Dhritarashtra here. So now it so happened that once both Duryodhana and Arjun, they approached Krishna to help them for the war. And it happened so that Arjuna came first. So he was sitting by the feet side and the lotus feet of the Lord, and Krishna was resting. And Duryodhana, he was sitting near the Krishna towards his head side. And they both came to approach Krishna for seeking some help. And both of them are related. So Krishna has to be equal to both of them. He wasn't partial. So when he saw Arjuna, when he opened his eyes, he saw Arjuna first, because Arjuna was sitting right in front of him. So he gives the opportunity to Arjuna to first ask his needs. And when Duryodhana came to know that, he was very perplexed. Like, I should be the one to give the opportunity. I'm just by the side of Krishna. Why did Krishna choose Arjuna? But then he could not do anything. So Krishna gives 2 options to them. The first option is, either you can take my Narayana Sena, like 100,000 of Narayana Sena, or you will get me. And whomsoever side I am, I will be just present, but I will not do anything. Krishna says that he will not participate in the battle. He will be just present over there. So hearing that, Arjuna immediately said that, Krishna, I just wanted you. And Duryodhana was very, very happy in his mind, because he was only eager to get the Narayana Sena. He thought that, if you're getting the army of Krishna, he will be very powerful. Already he has a powerful army. And by getting Narayana Sena, he will be even more powerful. So Duryodhana was saying, okay, I know I am a little bit sad about not getting, but it's okay. If this is what left over to me, what do I do? But inside he was very happy, but outside he just said that, as though he wanted Krishna as well. But Krishna is a Paramatma. He understands the intention of each and every living entity. So now we know that the Duryodhana's army is very, very strong. He had big generals and he had big teachers, Dronacharya, from whom both Pandus and both of them learned. The teacher is over there. But so he was very, very confident about their winning. That's why it is called Dharmakshetra. So Kurukshetra. So this Kurukshetra is a place which is 100 kilometers from that of Delhi. Even today, a lot of ritualistic activities are taking place in Kurukshetra. People, when they want to do their final rites and everything, they go to Kurukshetra, because Kurukshetra is a place of dharma. And it is also called Dharmakshetra because who is present there? Who was present? Krishna. So Krishna is dharma personified. So it is also called the Dharmakshetra, Kurukshetra, Samaveta Yutsavaha. So both of them are sitting there. So there is a great desire to fight over there. There is a desire for fighting. But Dhritarashtra was thinking, because it is Dharmakshetra, it is Kurukshetra, it is a very, very pious place. What happens if the mind of the Pandus changes? What happens if they are leaving the battle or if they are going for some compromise? Because here Dhritarashtra was very, very confident about his winning. He never thought that it will happen that, his sons will lose. But he had one doubt, because it is a pious place and he knows that his sons were not pious. They were not, and he was also sure that his sons will not go for a compromise because of knowing the nature of his son. But he was worried about the Arjuna, if they will, get out of the battle. Whereas Dhritarashtra wanted this battle to happen. He didn't want any kind of the compromise that is happening. And even though Kurukshetra is 100 kilometers from that of Hastinapur, Sanjaya was able to see through that battle. How did Sanjaya get that power?
He had a blessing from Vyasadeva.
Exactly. He got the blessings. Through the blessings of Vyasadeva, Sanjaya could see the vision of the battle. Each and everything, not only seeing, he could also hear the talks of each and every person there. He could clearly hear the conversation that happened between Krishna and Arjuna. There were so many, there were 64 lakhs of army people over there, but it was too noisy. They were not able to hear what Krishna was speaking to Arjuna. And I don't know how many of you know that how long this Bhagavad Gita is spoken to Arjuna? What is the duration of Bhagavad Gita that was spoken by Krishna to Arjuna?
Some days, 18 days.
No. It's only 45 minutes.
Oh, okay.
18 days is the
18
war.
days the
no,
war
madam?
happened. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
in just 45 minutes, Krishna narrated the entire Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. So Arjuna nearly asked around 26 questions to Krishna. And all these 700 verses was recited by Krishna and Arjuna just in 45 minutes. Okay, so we can know how great Srutidhara's Arjuna was. Today we take 5 years to learn Bhagavad Gita, but Arjuna could just get it. And Arjuna was actually a devotee. He knows everything. So why did he choose? Because for us, like if somebody is taking an interview of a diabetologist, that doesn't mean that that person is suffering from diabetes. That person is asking that on behalf of all the people who are suffering. So similarly here, Arjuna on behalf of all of us is posing so many questions and everything so that we could get an appropriate answer from Krishna. Okay, so this is the thing that Dharmakshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta Yutsavaha, Mamaka Pandava Sheva, Kima Kurvata Sanjaya. So here, Arjuna is a Kshatriya. So the duty of the Kshatriya is to fight. You cannot ask a saintly people to fight, but a Kshatriya should fight. So even though we know that everything is material and this, but still, if there is a reason to fight, we should fight. Suppose there is a chowkidar of a bank and he sees that the bank is being robbed by some thieves. So if the chowkidar is using the Shati Panchakam, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, thinking that, if everything is material, this money is also material, this everything is temporary. So let the thieves do whatever they want. I'll be just peaceful and I will just meditate on Krishna. And if the police is coming and asking the chowkidar, what happened to you? What did you do when all these things were happening? He is saying, this is a temporary world and everything is temporary. So I just let it go. So will he be spared? No, isn't it? So similarly, here Arjuna is a Kshatriya. Even though he had a saintly nature, so Krishna insisted him to fight because it is a duty of the Kshatriya to establish the Dharma. If a Kshatriya cannot establish the Dharma, then who else can establish the Dharma? Isn't it? So, and as we all know that so many measures have been taken before to innovate the war. It was not that Arjuna desired to fight. It's not that Yudhishthira thought that, okay, let me go for it. Let me get it. No, they were not in that mentality. But because of the mentality of Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, there was a need for them to fight. So that is the reason why this fight was happening. And some of them may ask, why is that Krishna was so cruel? Why that so many people died? So it was said that in Mahabharata that at the end of this war, very few people were spared. Almost everybody died. Only the 5 Pandavas and even we know Dronacharya died, Bhishma Dev also after some time he passed away, and Krishna, only they survived. Even the Pandavas' sons were killed by Ashwatthama. I think you're aware of that. So hardly everybody died. There was nobody who was left over. But so in spite of their death, because they all died in front of Krishna, they all got liberated. No matter they were good or bad. So all the jivas, whomsoever was there in this battlefield of Kurukshetra, not only the soldiers, even the horses, even the elephants, everything, every jiva who was there, they all got liberated because this particular battlefield happened with Krishna's presence. So if you are seeing Krishna face to face, then there is no death. Krishna says, Antakale cha mameva smaran mukta kalevaram yap prayasi samadbhavam yati nasyatra asamshaya. In the Antakal, one who thinks about me in the Antakal. So for us, it is only the thinking. Yeah, we are not in the battlefield of Kurukshetra to see the Krishna face to face. So, but what we can do is we can think about Krishna. So thinking about Krishna is same as seeing about Krishna. And by doing so, one can come out of the repeated birth and death. So this is how the first sloka is talking about the Dharma Kshetri and Kurukshetri. Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamaka Pandava Sheva Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. So Dhritarashtra is very eager to ask Sanjaya what is happening. And his anxiety is what? Main anxiety of Dhritarashtra was because it is happening in Dharma Kshetra. So he was worried about the victory. He was very, very confident about the victory because he wanted it to happen. He had big army, huge army, and he did not know that Krishna is the supreme. He knew that Krishna was the supreme personality of God, but he could not take it. Like the materialistic person. They know that, Bhagavad Gita is very important in our life. They know that by reading Gita, our life will get very peaceful and happy. But what excuses everybody gives to read Gita?
No time.
No time, exactly. So this is a common thing that we do. We know that, we have to hear from Krishna. We know that we are suffering from the time, but we don't want to take the help of Krishna. Krishna is there to talk to us because he wants to take us back. That's why the very last verse of Bhagavad Gita, almost when Krishna was signing out, he says, Sarvadharman parityacha, mam ekam sharanam braja, just surrender to me. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami masuja. I will get rid of all your sinful reactions and give you moksha. So the entire purpose of Bhagavad Gita is for us to go back home, back to Godhead. So that is the main purpose of Bhagavad Gita. Although there are some material benefits, but as a devotee, we are not looking for those benefits, whereas we are trying to develop the relation that we have with the God. Who is God? Who are we? And what is the relationship we have with him? Jivera Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nityadas. We are all the eternal servant of Krishna. So by serving Krishna, Rishikena, Rishikesha, Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. By serving the senses of Krishna, our senses get automatically purified. So by the purified senses, one can understand the knowledge of Gita very nicely. With the contaminated senses, it becomes very difficult for us to understand Gita. So for that purification, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, so cleansing all the misgivings. So we, by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, all our misdeeds will get cleansed and we will be able to absorb this knowledge of Gita very nicely and implement it in our daily life and also give it to others. Okay, so with this, I stop this commentary for this chapter. And there was one more verse where it was written, there was an analogy. Anybody remembered that analogy here? So it is, yeah, about the paddy field.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you read that, Mataji? Yeah, you can see that here. Sri Krishna, the unwanted plants like Dhritarashtra's sons and others would be wiped out and thoroughly. You can read that paragraph
As
about
in the
paddy field.
field, the unnecessary plants are taken out. So it is expected from the very beginning of this topics that in the religious field of Kurukshetra, where the father of the religion, Sri Krishna, was present, the unwanted plants like Dhritarashtra's sons, Duryodhana and others would be wiped out, and the thoroughly religious persons headed by Yudhishthira would be established by the Lord. This is the significance of the words Dharma Kshetra and Kurukshetra.
Apart from the historical and Vedic importance. Although Kurukshetra was a pious space, but above that, the pious personified, the Dharma personified Krishna is present. So the unwanted weeds are removed. So this unwanted thing, it is predicted. But Dhritarashtra could not understand. Why? Because he was blinded by the materialistic thoughts, not only by birth, but by his materialistic thought, he was blinded and he thought that he was very strong with his army and he and his son would win. Okay. So any questions, Matajis, from this sloka? Is it clear understanding of this sloka? Any questions here?
Yes, Mataji.
So what I would like you all to do for a very good study of Gita, please go through the purport one more time. And wherever there is analogy, please write it down with your notes, because these analogies helps us a lot to understand the Gita. And they are very beautiful. So in future, if you're doing like course like Bhakti Shastri or anything else in ISKCON, when you're advancing in your devotion, this will also help you for your faster learning of the Gita. So please have all these analogies written in your thing. So any comments or any questions or anything?
I
About
have it.
today's... Yes, Mataji.
So obviously, I'm not questioning what is written, but just a doubt. I thought I can, if that gets clarified. So we talked about this Kurukshetra war and the reason why it led to Kurukshetra war. And so what I think is like, obviously, unfortunately, Dhritarashtra, he was blinded by birth. And then just because of that, he couldn't take rule the kingdom. He had to give it to his younger brother Pandu. And just because Pandu was the king, obviously his sons, so they were kind of by default they got into that stream of what's it called? Okay, they will take over the kingdom. But I was thinking like, for whatever reason, Dhritarashtra was blinded. That is fine, but his sons were not blinded. They were not born blinded. So why it was not mentioned, like, it is supposed to go to
Duryodhana also.
the son, yeah, and instead of Pandu, because obviously Pandu got the kingdom just because his elder brother was blinded. But ideally speaking, when that term is over and his Dhritarashtra's sons, they are not blinded. So why
Yes.
that talk did not
Okay.
take place?
Yeah. So the first question, Mataji, we know the reason why Dhritarashtra was blinded. We saw the 50 lifetimes back, Dhritarashtra killed 100 birds in front of the mother bird. So he was cursed that his 100 children will be died in front of him. So
Okay.
Dhritarashtra was actually cursed because he has hurted 100 birds for no reason. The nest he destroyed in 50 lifetimes before when Dhritarashtra was a hunter. So he received this curse. So that's what again we did the topics on karma. We do not know how the karma acts. So it was already destined here that. But in spite of that, because Yudhishthira was dharmic and they all had very good qualities. If you see the Pandu's sons, they all had, and Duryodhana, even from this childhood also, just not because his father is blind, but he also did not have good quality. Duryodhana was very envious. So he just wanted to play the game of dice and he wants to send them out along with the help of his uncle.
Yes,
Isn't it?
He is,
And even they were ready to give Pandavas. They just said, give us only 5 village. They say you take the kingdom also, they said. They were not telling, we are the heirs, we wanted it also, they did not ask. They were ready to give because of their good nature. And in the further slokas, we saw there is a last division where Arjuna does not want to fight.
Yes.
So here we will see why many reasons why Arjuna doesn't want to fight. But Duryodhana has so many reasons for not to fight, but he didn't want to do because he wanted everything. He didn't want to give even a needle to them. So that is not a good quality, right? So for that quality, they have to be punished. And again, they all left their body in front of Krishna. So their death is not an ordinary death. So even being a Duryodhana also, you have to be pious so that you died in front of Krishna, isn't it? So that's the only thing. So this everything happened in the presence of Krishna. So this was about to happen. So from the lessons, what we understand from here is from knowing about the materialistic nature of Dhritarashtra, me, my, and mine, we can also understand how if we are also in the same qualities of me, my, and mine, we may also get into disappointment, right? So this is not going to help us either, right? We can become unhappy. All those things happen. So today we see people are more successful than before. I'm talking about material success, not about the spiritual success. The spending capacity of the people is much higher. Like when we were children, I don't remember, I never went to any abroad trips or anywhere. For me, the biggest trip maybe once in my, I don't know, when I was some 15 years old, I crossed the the state of Tamil Nadu and I went to Hyderabad. That is what I could go. We were just going nearby. We were not even having so much of, economically, we were not very great. Most of us were this thing, but today, economically, we see that, people are more and more earning, they are going out and you're in US, so you know better how material advancement is happening. So, but are the people happy? What is happening? More and more of me, my, and mine has come in. Today, we don't even have a joint family. People are forgetting the tradition. People are forgetting the culture. And the children's born, they are also much more and more self-centered than us. At least we have certain qualities about serving our parents and everything. But today, our children, they just hardly mean anything. And, in your culture in US, you cannot even shout at children. You cannot even beat them for their thing. You just have to let them go what they are, isn't it? So that's not the right thing that is happening today because the children become more and more self-centered and everything. So this is exactly happened. That's why he's splitting. Mamaka Pandavaschaiva. He's splitting. He's rejecting Pandus from the Kuru dynasty. That is very wrong by Dhritarashtra. How can he say that they are not even belonging to the Kuru dynasty? But Arjuna thinks that I don't want to fight with my cousins. If they die, what happiness they get. So that shows the compassionate nature of Arjuna. If Arjuna was ready to fight, then the Gita wouldn't have come only.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
he would have just fought, he would have won. But this shows about many things. So that is what we are understanding, what is Dharma through Arjuna. So by learning Gita, we understand what is Dharma. We understand the peace formula. We understand the real purpose of the life. What is the real goal of the life? Because many of us don't know what is the real goal of life. If we think that having a penthouse is the real goal of life, then why are we not able to take that penthouse along with us when we die? Now, Ratan Tata, he passed away. Very big kingdom of Tatas. What happened? He's no more, isn't it? So all these things just go away. But anything that today, the chanting that you do, the Bhagavad Gita you're hearing, Bhagavatam that you're reading, you're visiting the temple and all those things does. And in those days, this wars happened in a separate field, not like us. Today, what happened? They are all hiding in the trenches. Ukraine-Russia war, and they put the bombs in the hospitals, they put the bombs in the schools. But those days, they went 100 kilometers away and they choose a ground where they would fight so that they don't harm any civilian people. They don't want to. That's what the wars were also dharma that time, not like today. They didn't harm any other people. And even the people who fought from morning until they blow the conch shell, until they fight. Evening, they will have dinner together. They will play with each other. They don't carry the enmity beyond the war. But today in the night, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, we try to hide in the trenches and we try to put the bomb. So where is the thing? And people, the soldiers who are leaving the body in such wars, do you think they will go back to heaven? No, because it is not a dharmic war. As long as it is not the dharmic war, how can they go to the heaven? So it cannot happen, because today nothing is the dharma that is happening. Whereas those days the dharma was intact. Even Dhritarashtra knew the dharma to a certain extent that he accepted to have it much this thing. Some dharmic was there, although they were selfish. But today we have crossed all the limits. Every limit that is possible that we have crossed today, because we have become more and more selfish. And the war is not even dharmic. The war is just on expansion. The war is not even dharmic today, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you. Any other questions? I hope this time suits all of you who are attending now.
Not me, Mataji. I'm in New Zealand now, so it was easier for me to attend the class. So this afternoon here.
Yeah, I know. It is for you, today's day became more convenient, isn't it, Mataji? Yeah.
Even next Sunday will be easier for me because I'm leaving on Monday, next Monday.
Okay.
So I'll be
But
able to understand.
okay, but in the morning, it's very nice to hear to Gita. The absorption, our mind is very clear, very pure. Maybe you can try, Mataji, when you come back
I
here.
will try.
Yeah.
Mataji, I will.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for
Krishna,
joining.
Mataji.
Should we sing the Narsimha prayers? I don't know if you're all getting late. Maybe today we did little bit of introduction, because of which we got little delayed. Maybe from next class, let's ensure that we complete on time. I hope I'm not bothering all of you by taking this extra time today.
No.
Mataji, we could do
Yeah.
it.
How can you bother us, Mataji?
No. Okay. No,
You are
you may
doing
have
good.
some work at home or something. So
Not
because
at
of the
all, Mataji.
first, we had little more introduction to be done, right? So we'll just do the Narsimha prayers, our first class. So we will try to do our, 1 second. Is the screen share visible?
No, Mataji.
Not it.
Not it. Okay, I don't know, say
But
something.
we can just sing, Mataji. We have written music.
Okay. Namaste
Namaste
Narasimhaya
Narasimhaya
Praladayini Hiranyakashi Purvashaka
Shilantanka
Shilatankalatayi Ito
Ito
Narsimha
Narsimha
Bharato Narsimha
Narsimho
Yato Yam
Nato Narsimha
Bhagi
Bahir
Narsimha Hridaye
Narsimha Narsimha
Narsimha Madim
Madhima Saranam
Prabhake
Prabhake
Tava
Tava
Kara Kamala Varena
Varena Natakam Adbhuta Shirangam Talita Hridaya Kashipu
Tanu
Tanu Bringa Shabashta Narasimha Rupa
Jai
Jaya
Jagadish
Jagadish
Hare,
Hare
Jai
Jaya Jagadish Hare
Jaya
Jai
Narasimhadev,
Narasimhadev
Jaya
Naya Narasimhadev Jaya
Narasimhadev,
Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhe Jaya
Jaya
Prahlad
Maharaj,
Maharaj Jaya
Prahlad
Prahlad
Maharaj,
Maharaj Jaya
Prahlad Maharaj,
Prahlad
Jaya
Jaya
Prahlad,
Prahlad Maharaj
Jaya Prabhupada,
Prabhupada
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya
Jaya
Gurudev,
Gurudev
Gurudev,
Gurudev Jaya
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 Jaya Gurudev.
Gurudev
नरसिम्हा भगवान की जय, भक्ति
Jai Bhakti
प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, श्रील
Jai
प्रभुपाद की जय.
Jai Jai
We are almost in the last 5-6 days of Kartik month, so still a month of so much of blessings. So please try to utilize your time in chanting, reading, and singing the Damodara Ashtakam and offering the diyas. So at least you can invite some of your neighbors and friends and call them, give them some simple prashadam, and have a Deepdan program. By doing so, you're giving opportunity to many of them to enter in, to give them the seed of the spirituality, because some of them may not be ready to read the book, some of them may not be ready to do, but some way or the other we can give them the seed of devotion by engaging them in this act of offering the lamp to the ghee lamp to Lord Krishna, where their sins performed in 1,000 kalpa gets vanished. So it's the highest charity one can do by engaging people in the Deepdan. So if at all you have some opportunity to host in the next 5-6 days, even let it be 5 people or 10 people, doesn't matter, but you're doing something very great to that soul by doing this activity of doing the Deepdan. Okay, so please try to do as much as possible. Don't waste the time. Each and every moment is very, very important for us in our life. If we have time, we can chant, we can read, we can listen to Prabhupada's lecture. So we have so many things to be done in Krishna conscious. We can make a nice garland to Lord. We can offer a nice boga to the Lord. So let us engage our life, this human form of life in Krishna consciousness, so that we perfect our life and go back home, back to Godhead. Okay? Hare Krishna. Vancha
Krishna.
kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.